Hi, I'm Izzy, and welcome to another installment of The Inner Sanctum. Today I will be reviewing and discussing the 4K Arrow video release of The Stuff, starring Michael Moriarty as Mo Rutherford. I'm called Mo because whenever I get some money, I always want Mo. He's an industrial saboteur hired by the heads of the ice cream companies because the stuff is eating into their profits. The stuff is this white gooey stuff coming from the ground, and people just absolutely love eating it, and they are so addicted to it. In his adventures, he meets a 12-year-old boy named Jason who ran away from home because his parents was forcing him to eat the stuff, which he didn't want to eat it after he saw it move in his refrigerator. He also meets Nicole, the lady who is responsible for all the TV ads of the stuff. He also meets Chocolate Chip Charlie, played by SNL alumni Garrett Morris, and I think we know who that's a takeoff on. He also encounters Colonel Spears, played by the wonderful Paul Sorvino. Danny Aiello and Patrick O'Neill also make cameos in the movie. Now, the movie itself really is not bad. I really enjoyed it, but I still have a few problems, and it's within the final third of the movie. The first part is when they get to the plant that distributes the stuff. On the outside, they have a little bit of a fight and a little bit of a shootout because Colonel Spears has his own army. Then they get inside the plant, and all the people there were instructed that instead of fighting, commit suicide. So when they get in, they see all the people just lying there on the floor dead. That was a letdown. I think it would have been better if they had a shootout and you could have some great gory special effects about and see what happens to the people after they've been eating stuff. That would have looked awesome. But for whatever reason, they didn't do it. Money concerns, because it was low budget or whatever, I don't know. So then Colonel Spears says, okay, leave everybody here. I have some radio stations in Georgia. I'm going to go on the radio and make a speech. So they get in this plane and they're flying over to Georgia. And in the plane, he says to the lady Nicole, who is responsible for the ads for the stuff, he says, 80 to 90% of people don't like me. You make people like the stuff. Maybe you can make people like me too. So to make a long story short, he gets on the radio and tells people, don't eat it, don't sell it, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Everybody listens to him. The problem I have with that is if 80 or 90% of people don't like him, why are they listening to him? If you don't like somebody, are you going to listen to them? No. They could have found a better way to end people eating the stuff, because they had a great closing scene where they're selling the stuff and it's like narcotics. And I thought that was great. That ending there worked good. But you could have ditched the ending and you could have had it like you did in The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And that's no matter which version of it you like, whether you like the Kevin McCarthy version or the Donald Sutherland version. In either version, they don't get rid of the pod people. So in here, you could have had it where they don't get rid of the stuff. And I think that would spoke more to consumerism and addiction. Now for the bonus features. All that are contained on the Blu-ray release of the stuff are also here on the 4K release, but there's also some other exciting features, like an archival audio commentary by writer-director Larry Cohen, and also an audio commentary by film critics and authors David Flint and Adrian Smith. Also, there is a fine featurette about 42nd Street, and they made a movie in 2017 about Larry Cohen called King Cohen, and he talks about the stuff. So they took that part of the documentary and made that a small featurette. Most of that is repetitive of the making of this stuff, but there's a few little new pieces here and there, so it's worth watching. But the best part of the extra features is there's a second disc, and it contains the 1080p version of the pre-release cut version of the film. Now, when I did an unboxing, I mistakenly called it the director's cut. It's not the director's cut, it's a pre-release cut, which adds about 30 minutes to the film. The first scene that was cut out was when the parents have to pick up Jason at the police station after he wrecked the grocery store selling the stuff. I can see that that was deleted because in the theatrical film you find out he's in his room and he says, grounded for life. So you know he was punished. So they took that out, and okay. Now the one scene that is hard to have totally cut out, but they did, was when they meet in Mo's hotel room. They meet, they talk, they become intimate and spend the night with each other. Okay, I can see for pacing reasons why it was cut out, But in the theatrical version, when Mo is talking to Nicole on the set of her making the new commercial for the stuff, they talk about how they're going to meet at his hotel room, and she gives her assistant his card to make sure that he is who he says he is. Now, you don't know what happens. In the theatrical cut, they talk about it, but you never see anything, so for continuity reasons, it didn't quite work. But as far as pacing, I can see why. They should have maybe somehow figured out a way to add just a little bit, just so you know what happened, or allude to what happened. Now, as far as the video and audio goes, the video is a little bit better than the Blu-ray release, but not by leaps and bounds, and, well, it's fine. And the audio is okay, except for when they get to whispering. I couldn't understand it at all and had to put on the subtitles. As far as my recommendations for the film, if you like the movie, I would say yes. It is definitely worth an upgrade, if for no other reason than the pre-release cut, because it adds to the movie, and you may like that presentation better than I did. But overall, it's a solid 4K effort from Arrow Video, and Arrow Video always puts out good presentations of movies. So Arrow, keep up the good work. And look forward to my next reviews, which will be of the 4K of Fade to Black, the 4K of Carnal Knowledge, released by Criterion, and yes, this is Art Garfunkel from Simon and Garfunkel. Can he act? Well, you will find out in my next review of this movie. And I'll tell you if I think he has any acting chops, or if he should have just stayed in front of the microphone and sang with Mr. Simon. And last but not least, for all you old movie buffs out there, Algiers, made in the late 30s, with Charles Boyer as Pepe Le Moko. I love saying that name, Pepe Le Moko. And in her first English language film, Hedy Lamarr, not Hedley Lamarr, Hedy Lamarr. Make sure you say Hedy and not Hedley Lamarr. He's in a different movie. And that's it for now, and I'll see you next time in The Inner Sanctum.